How do you warm up for voiceover? Well, there's a lot to it, and also not that much. You shouldn't be warming up for an extended period of time like you do with singing, but at the same time, you still want to be ready. So today I'm going to show just one aspect of how I warm up, and if it's interesting, I'll show more. But the last thing I do before I get going is tongue twisters to make sure that I can actually speak properly and not trip over my words. I challenge you to try to say them as well, as fast as you can with a full breath of voice while not losing that resonance. If you don't know what that means, we can talk about that another time. But have fun listening and enjoy the chaos. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the bit of butter Betty bought was bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter, but a better... Betty bought a bit of butter, but the bit of butter Betty bought was bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter, but a bit of better butter will make my batter better, so Betty bought a better bit of butter. I slit a sheet I slit, upon a slitted sheet I sit. Which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches? Which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches? Which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches? If you must cross a coarse cross cow across a crowded cow crossing, cross the cross course cow across the crowded cow crossing carefully. The sixth sheep's sick. Whew, what a wild ride. I will say I added some notes about how I did those readings because there's always room for improvement. There were times I wasn't using my resonant voice. There were times I paused and took another breath because I realized I was trying to get through it as fast as possible, which is part of tongue twisters, but I wasn't using the proper voice. I wasn't projecting, I wasn't taking the right breath. There's a lot of nuance that you can add to these things, even if you do master the saying of the words. Highly recommend practicing it. I'll put a link to the site that I use for pulling some tongue twisters. There are a bunch of books people recommend. Definitely ask around. And if you are in need of a voice that is nice and warmed up and has some tongue twisters under their belt, feel free to contact me at melissa@melissamickeyvo.com and look at my website, melissamickeyvo.com. See you next time.